What if a university brotherhood created in 1977 quietly evolved into one of the most investigated crime networks on 3 continents? What if a symbol once meant for black unity became linked to election violence, cybercrime, and global scams worth millions? And what if this transformation wasn't fiction at all, but one of the most complex realities in modern Nigeria? Today, we're diving deep into a story that begins in a university dorm room and ends in global investigations, so buckle up, because this one gets darker the deeper you go. The story of Black Axe begins at the University of Benin in Nigeria in 1977. A group of young men formed what they called the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, or NBM, with a mission centered on black liberation, empowerment, and social consciousness. Their logo featured a black axe breaking chains, symbolizing resistance. In those early days, their intentions were not criminal. They imagined themselves as thinkers and activists. Yet, as Nigeria's university cult culture grew, what started as an ideological movement slowly became associated with violence, secrecy, and fear across campuses. By the 1980s and 1990s, Nigeria's universities had become breeding grounds for confraternities that often clashed violently. Rivalry between groups escalated into kidnappings, extortion, revenge killings, and attacks. Black Axe's name repeatedly came up in connection with dangerous confrontations. Authorities, students, and families began associating the group with brutality rather than activism. Despite this, the group's campus presence only seemed to grow, and as Nigeria's economy weakened, unemployment soared, and political tensions rose, confraternities found new opportunities far beyond the walls of the university. One of the darkest chapters in this history happened on July 10, 1999, at Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife. Around 4:30 in the morning, dozens of armed men stormed the Awolowo Hall dormitory. Witnesses and investigators identified them as Black Axe members. Students were dragged from their rooms, shot, beaten, and slashed. When the attack ended, 5 young men were dead and 11 others injured. The massacre made national headlines, sparked outrage, and symbolized the peak of campus cult violence. But despite public pressure, the legal system failed to deliver justice. Suspects disappeared, evidence went missing, and the case languished for years, showing just how entrenched confraternity power had become. So how does a campus cult end up on FBI, Interpol, and Europol watch lists around the world? The answer lies in Nigeria's economic reality. As job opportunities dried up in the 2000s, many young Nigerians turned to internet fraud, what the streets called Yahoo Yahoo. Over time, these loosely organized scammers began operating under confraternity umbrellas for protection, identity, and structure. Black Axe became one of the most frequently mentioned groups in these investigations. The Brotherhood's loyalty system provided security. Its global diaspora members became offshore facilitators. And the rise of social media and online dating platforms created endless new victims. By the 2010s, law enforcement agencies in Europe and North America began to see a pattern in fraud cases. Victims were sending thousands, sometimes millions of dollars to scammers using fake identities, romance schemes, and business email compromise tactics. When investigators traced the money, it often led back to networks linked to West African criminal groups, including Black Axe. Europol began describing some of these operations as Nigerian mafia models. Meanwhile, journalists uncovered online chat logs, internal codes, and conversations referencing confraternity ranks and rituals. The global wake-up call came when the United States, Europe, and Africa launched coordinated operations. One of the biggest breakthroughs occurred in December 2024, when the U.S. Department of Justice extradited a senior Black Axe figure from South Africa. Authorities alleged he spent 10 years running an online fraud syndicate that targeted victims in the U.S., using romance scams and fake business deals to launder millions. Investigators found networks of money mules, dozens of fake profiles, and a trail of digital evidence that showed a high degree of organization. What shocked investigators wasn't just the money, it was the scale, the reach, and the loyalty inside the network. Meanwhile, in Europe, police forces in Germany, Italy, and Spain were cracking down on similar operations. In April 2024, German authorities arrested 11 Nigerians suspected of romance scamming and laundering hundreds of thousands of euros. Prosecutors publicly linked the group to Black Axe. They called it one of the largest operations ever conducted against a Nigerian confraternity in Germany. These arrests exposed how deeply confraternity structures had embedded themselves into diaspora communities. But internet fraud is only one layer of the story. Black Axe has also been implicated in human trafficking rings in Italy and Spain, where Nigerian women were allegedly coerced into prostitution through threats, violence, and ritual oaths. Victims told investigators they couldn't escape because of fears tied to spiritual rituals and violent retaliation. Nigerian authorities have also linked Black Axe and other confraternities to political thuggery, ballot box snatching, and intimidation during elections. Some leaked documents suggested that politicians in certain states paid cult groups, including Black Axe, for vote manipulation during campaigns. Inside Nigeria, the group maintains a structure that is often described as decentralized yet tightly bonded. Recruits, mostly university students, undergo intense initiation rituals. These include beatings, oath-taking, and symbolic acts meant to ensure silence and loyalty. Such rituals make it extremely difficult for members to testify against each other. The fear of retaliation is strong, and in many cases justified. As a result, even when police make arrests, convictions remain rare. Witnesses refuse to testify, court cases drag on, and communities stay silent. If nobody will testify, how do you dismantle a global criminal network? International organizations believe the answer lies in cooperation and intelligence sharing. Interpol's Operation Jackal 3 in 2023 and 2024 targeted West African crime groups, including Black Axe across 21 countries. Hundreds of suspects were arrested, and millions in illegal funds were traced. Yet, investigators warn that confronting groups like Black Axe is unlike dealing with traditional mafia. Their structure is fluid, spread out, and adaptable. Members can operate independently or in small clusters. Some use the confraternity identity for global fraud. Others remain rooted in campus politics and local violence. This flexibility makes the network difficult to dismantle. While NBM officially claims that it is a social organization, not a criminal one, law enforcement documents consistently show overlap between NBM members and individuals arrested for Black Axe-related crimes. In 2024 and 2025, NBM leaders publicly insisted that the organization is lawful and fights against injustice. They also stated that any member involved in crime would be expelled. But researchers say the blurred line between the NBM identity and the Black Axe name complicates everything from prosecution to public understanding. As of November 2025, Black Axe remains one of the most researched and controversial crime networks originating from West Africa. Its reach extends from Nigeria to South Africa, Germany, Italy, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Cybercrime continues to be its most profitable global operation. Election manipulation and campus violence remain long-standing domestic concerns. And the recruitment of vulnerable youth, especially university students, remains an ongoing issue. In many ways, the story of Black Axe mirrors the larger story of Nigeria's socio-economic struggle. Where institutions weaken, underground structures fill the vacuum. Where youth face unemployment, illegal opportunities flourish. Where justice systems falter, criminals grow bold. And where global digital platforms expand, cybercrime evolves faster than the law can keep up. So the real question is, can Black Axe ever be stopped, or will it simply reinvent itself again? Experts argue that the fight must go much deeper than arrests. Nigeria needs stronger campus security, better cybercrime training, improved witness protection, economic opportunities for youth, and political reforms that reduce the influence of cult groups. Internationally, banks and law enforcement agencies are tightening their monitoring systems, but the constant growth of digital communication keeps giving criminals new tools. The rise of Black Axe, from a campus movement to a transnational criminal syndicate, is a reminder of how quickly an idea can mutate when opportunity, secrecy, and desperation collide. And as authorities continue making arrests across multiple continents, the group's resilience proves one thing. Confronting Black Axe is not simply law enforcement work, it is a multi-layered battle involving society, education, technology, and global cooperation. Thanks for watching. If this deep dive kept you hooked, hit that like button before it disappears into the shadows. Don't forget to subscribe for more eye-opening stories, and drop a comment to tell me what shocked you the most.